listen, man, listen. It ain't about what they do. It's about what we do. Yeah. It's about the intensity we bring.
Touchdown!
Yeah. It's about the that we do.
Trouble. Hit. Sack!
Let's go hard, man. Give me your arm on every single play, because I'm going to give you my arm. And I'm going to put it on everything.
Intercepted Fire. Intercepted by Butler. Picked off Logan Ryan.
Let's ride today, man. We're enemy territory, man. We're coming to Texas today. Yeah. Do it. Hey, let's go, man. Hey, Titans on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey.
He's in trouble. He's sacked! Taken down by Wesley Woodyard. Throws in the end zone. Man is there. Touchdown, Titans! Touchdown, Titans! An extra period, but the Titans get it done again.
Throw your hands up in the sky.
1-0. That's the story here on Titans All Access with Amy Wells. I'm Mike Keith. Titans coming off a 30-point win at Cleveland. That was a good road trip.
So much fun. Mike, have you seen Mike Vrabel's locker room speech?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Can we show it again anyway?
Sure.
Please.
Let's take a look at Mike Vrabel from after the win on Sunday. Why not?
Roll it.
I'm proud of each and every one of you. Couple game balls. Okay, first person. Okay, she gives us everything we need. Okay, everything that we need. She lets John and I do our job. I'm not hugging the next guy, okay? He has done everything for this organization, and he deserves the game ball for calling a great game, Arthur Smith. Last guy, okay, joined us in the offseason. Okay, better teammate and better person than he is a player, and we know what kind of player he is. Went over 100 sacks for his career. Can't wait. Putting this one to bed. Say as little as you possibly can. Say, hey, we're moving on to the next one. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's the power of Titans All Access. We go from the head coach to the general manager, John Robinson. He's normally on later in the show, but I guess after a big win, you want to come in early.
It's great to be here.
So tell us 2 or 3 things that stood out to you about the game against the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I mean, I think it starts with the effort and finish that our players shown, and I think a perfect example was Derrick Henry's touchdown run on the screenplay. I mean, you had 3 or 4 guys going downfield and really going above and beyond what's asked of them to spring that long run, and just proud of the way our guys finished the game.
John, last week you talked about Cameron Wake and your rationale behind signing the outside linebacker. Are you even a little surprised that he had 2.5 sacks at Cleveland?
No, I mean, it's a testament, to him. I thought that he really did a good job on those tackles, getting to the junction point, knowing how to corner around those guys, and to his teammates as well on that safety play, which was a huge play for us. Hooker was back there at safety, undercut a route, and it gave Cam an extra second or 2 to get there and make the play.
Last year, the Titans did a lot of good things on special teams. After seeing the performance in Cleveland, could they be even better in 2019?
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. We were fortunate to get Cairo kind of late in the season when Suckup kind of had his issue. Did a great job for us in the Cleveland game. And our coverage units, they stood out. Brett kicked the ball great. It's just really trying to improve on what we did last year.
John, the opponent this week, Indianapolis, they come in 0-1, but they played really well in an overtime loss against the Chargers. As you've looked at the Colts on tape, what do these 2019 Indianapolis Colts do that impresses you?
Well, I think offensively, first off, as a team, they play hard. I mean, they really, really play hard. They really established the run game in that Chargers game. The offensive line did a great job. Brissett did a good job of getting the ball to T.Y. Hilton, a playmaker for him. Ebron had a big catch for him. They do a really good job of establishing the run and running play-action passes off that. Defensively, it's fast and aggressive. They come off the ball. They're trying to get to the quarterback and force turnovers.
John, special day Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Titans are 1-0. It's the home opener. You're taking on an AFC South foe, and the numbers of Steve McNair and Eddie George to be retired at halftime. Big day for fans, and you need the fans big time this weekend.
Yeah, we need them there early. We need them loud. And it's a really, really special day for Eddie and for Steve and their families. Two legendary players here for this organization. We've got a tall order with the Colts coming in town, so we need all the two-tone blue in the stadium that we can get.
John Robinson, thanks for joining us on Titans All Access.
Great to be here.
There's a lot more coming up on this edition of Titans All Access. Kevin Byard is a hero at a Nashville elementary school. Titans Radio's Dave McGinnis is almost as big a hit as the biscuits for season ticket members at the Loveless Cafe. Speaking of Coach Mack, his Beneath the Surface explains why the Titans' third quarter screen pass was a home run. Jim Wyatt gets you ready for Sunday at Nissan Stadium with all of the fantastic new things. And we get you ready for Sunday's retirement of the numbers of Steve McNair and Eddie George with remembrances from Pro Bowl tackle Brad Hopkins. But up next on Titans All Access, the Nissan Insider features number 27 himself. You do not want to miss this conversation.
I think that Eddie pretty much, he embodied what we were as Titans back then. Even as Oilers, ending the Oiler era and bringing in the Titans era. He was our identity. He was essentially like our soul, you know what I mean? So when you look back at, you know, what galvanized the relationship between the Titans and our fair city of Nashville, it started with them becoming familiar with people and characters like Eddie George.
Brad Hopkins with some good stuff about his teammate Eddie George, and who knows better about these two guys than Brad Hopkins. He played through Steve McNair's entire career with the organization and Eddie George's entire career with the organization.
Well, Mike Keith, you've been here for the entirety of the organization. What's one of your favorite Eddie George memories?
It's a non-football memory. Since Brad talked football, I'll tell this one. Albert Haynesworth is in his second year, and he publicly called Eddie George old. So one day, walking through the training room, Eddie notices that Albert is laying face down on a table getting a stem treatment, that shock sort of treatment, on his hamstring. Eddie walks over to the stem machine and says, "So Albert, you think I'm old?" And he turns it all the way up. So all that stem is shaking the big man's leg. It was hilarious.
Oh,
Albert didn't think so. He thinks it's funny now, though.
I'm sure he does.
You know what else is interesting about Eddie George? He was not highly recruited out of high school.
Really?
And this shocks people because he won the Heisman Trophy. His number's retired at Ohio State. Sunday, his number will be retired with the Titans. But if you can believe this, coming out of high school, not one Division I school wanted him. As a matter of fact, Georgia Tech didn't even want him as a walk-on.
Dummies.
How about this story from Eddie George in our Nissan Insider, something you probably didn't know about 27.
Hey man, forget the smoke and mirrors. Stay right here for 60 minutes of firm focus. Focus on executing and dominating. Come out here and play from the spirit. Had a life game of your life, man. 1 on 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Eddie George, number retired by the Tennessee Titans for a guy that when you went to Fork Union, your senior year, you finish your senior year, Edinboro is your only scholarship offer?
Wow.
And that's a partial offer, is that right?
Wow.
So you had to stay for a postgraduate year, and now you become the first number 27 in NFL history to have your number retired.
Wow. Edinboro was a great institution.
Sure.
I'm not going to knock it, but it just wasn't the right fit for me. And my mother made a comment. She said, "Well, did you ever consider about being a big fish in a small pond?" And I said, I know that analogy. I mean, I get that. But I said, "Mom, I'm a great white. I belong in the ocean. And I don't know what ocean that's going to be, but I'm going to find it." So I went back, and I went back to Philly that summer, and I worked relentlessly hard. Work out in the morning, run in the afternoon, then I'll go out at 10 o'clock at night at this park across the street in Southwest Philadelphia by myself, dreaming, just everything I could do just to realize my dream. And now sitting here, golly, 25 some years later, talking about my jersey retired, lets me know that with the right support system, the right type of faith, because I definitely believe in God, and I believe in prayer, and I believe in visualizing yourself being in certain places and doing certain things, that anything and all things are possible. And to go on to have the career that I've had is just truly remarkable.
And you joined another great white when you got into the pros in Steve McNair.
Yes.
A guy who was recruited by everybody and their brother to be a defensive back, which he would have been great at, but he said, no, I'm a great white, I'm going to play quarterback. And he went to Alcorn, and he should have won a Heisman Trophy. And so your stories were from the outside, you're the city guy, he's the country guy. Your stories appear so different, they intersect in almost the exact same way and form a partnership that will be honored forever on September 15th.
Yes, you know, I was a big fan of Steve. Who wasn't in 1994? So when I got drafted to Houston, I was like, oh, I'm Steve McNair. You know, this is I look up to this cat. Like, this is a good dude.
Let's play fast. Let's play physical today. Hey, leave it all out on the field. It's plays to be made. Don't take them home. Don't take them home. Leave them all out on the field. Let's go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Come into the locker room, and Steve's like, anything you need, man, I got you covered. This is very, very supportive and open, and I'm like, man, this is, do you know who this is? So, I'm on cloud nine. He's a superstar to me. And as time went on, it was just a mutual respect we had for one another. I wasn't about, you know, who had the best car or who was the leader or this. Look, let's win. Let's find the best way to win. When we win, all boats rise. We knew how to work, and we knew how to leave our egos at the door when it came to individual awards. You know, there were games where Steve only threw for 90 yards, but we got the win. And he rushed for another 50. Didn't care about the stats, he got the win. He developed into a passing quarterback, which was remarkable to see, but we left our egos at the door because we knew it was something greater on the backside of that.
Mike, I'm really enjoying hearing all of this about Eddie George, but we can't talk about Eddie without talking about Steve McNair. Give me one of your favorite Steve McNair memories.
I'm going to do football for this one.
Okay.
2003, late in the season at Houston, we have blown the game. It's Houston's second year in the league. They are going to get their first big win as a franchise. Steve McNair takes the team down the field and on 4th and 10 throws a 33-yard pass to Drew Bennett for the game-winning touchdown. That's the loudest stadium, college or pro, I've ever been in my life. The place was shaking. We were scared that we were going to fall out of the press box because we were rattling back and forth, and all of a sudden it got deathly quiet.
I love it.
It was wonderful. And Steve McNair was named MVP 2 weeks later.
Ugh, I'm
Pretty
loving
good
all
stuff.
these memories.
You know what else I love?
What?
Beneath the Surface.
Oh, yes.
And you know, the play that we're going to feature with Coach Dave McGinnis, here's a hint. It's a big running back running 75 yards. What could it be?
Ooh.
What it is next on Titans All Access.
Steve and Eddie basically are the ghosts that we're still chasing. You know, the recognition of champions that we were. You know, getting to conference championships, getting to the playoffs, you know, consistently, being recognized as one of the best teams, not only in the AFC, but in the league. And we're still trying to get back to that identity. And they're the ghosts that basically we're chasing. So, you know, when you try and think of that whole transition of Super Bowl 34, you know, almost through an ice storm during the week, and, you know, playing against the greatest show on turf, and, you know, it ending the way it did, so climactic, they were the catalyst for that. And we'll always remember that until we're able to replicate it again. And we'll never even forget it even after that point, but still, you know, that's what almost been 20 years now.
This is Coach Mack. You know, I really respect and love Brad Hopkins, a tremendous football player for the Tennessee Titans. Speaking of great linemen, let me show you some good line play that contributed to this big play today beneath the surface. This is a very critical point in this football game. Cleveland has closed within 2 points. It's 2:10 left in the third quarter. 1st and 10, ball on the -25. Arthur Smith, who has been controlling the narrative with his offense on first down all game, makes a tremendous call here. What we're going to see here highlighted is a play that all the parts of the Titans offense work together. The offensive linemen do a great job of allowing the Cleveland defensive front to get through to Marcus. They're trying to set up a screen. Cleveland is in a man-to-man defense, so we have a cut split on the backside that runs off the defender to the backside. Roger Saffold does an amazing job, shows tremendous athleticism for a big man, staying parallel to the line of scrimmage, not getting downfield, being able to stay in phase with Christian Kirksey, who has Derrick Henry man-to-man. Once the ball is thrown, Dennis Kelly is very, very aware to duck, let the ball go over his head, clean completion. Roger Saffold buries Christian Kirksey, and then it's Derrick Henry off to the races. Davis is down in front to throw a block down front for him. This is a big, big play, and this was the turning point in this football game. Thanks for joining us for this week's Beneath the Surface.
What can you expect Sunday at Nissan Stadium? Titans Online's Jim Wyatt has the story of all that is new and different for Titans fans. And Mike Keith shares details about what to expect during an extra special halftime. Stay tuned for more Titans All Access.
We're so glad you're with us on Titans All Access, and we hope you're at Nissan Stadium on Sunday. If you want a ticket, TitansOnline.com/tickets. There are single game tickets available. You can be there for what is just going to be a magical day overall. Not only are the Titans 1-0, home opener, AFC South foe, but at halftime, the jerseys of Eddie George and Steve McNair, more specifically, the numbers will be retired. First time in NFL history, 100 years of this league, that a 9 and a 27 have been retired. Ceremony with Amy Adams Strunk. One of Steve McNair's brothers is going to speak, which will be very special. Fans on the field, some season ticket members from day one. It's going to be a scene. So if you're going to be at the ball game at Nissan Stadium, remember, be in your seat at halftime. Don't miss this very special ceremony.
Now, for all the people who are going to be going to Nissan Stadium, there are some new additions this season.
Seriously?
Absolutely there are. And who better to go do some investigating as to what those new additions are than Jim Wyatt. Let's go into Wyatt's world.
Hey, I'm Jim Wyatt. I know you're excited about the Titans home opener on Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts here at Nissan Stadium. I want to tell you about some new things here at Nissan Stadium for 2019, so come on inside. I'll tell you about it. One thing that should help you get into Nissan Stadium even faster is a new tap-and-go technology. If you don't have the Titans app on your phone or need to get the upgraded version of the app, make sure you do that before you arrive at the stadium. Also, your season tickets that are on the card over a lanyard, when you come inside the stadium, just tap and go with the scanner, you'll be right in. While you're here at Nissan Stadium, I know you're going to want to check social media, check the team's Twitter account at Titans and the team's Instagram account at Titans. Also, maybe check my Twitter account at JWyattSports, or to get updates from across the NFL. You're going to be able to do so even faster this year with improved Wi-Fi. Double the access points for 10 times the internet bandwidth. Should be a lot smoother and faster experience this year. While you're at the games on Sunday, a lot of times there's a controversial call, a call that is challenged by a head coach and then reviewed by the officials. The replay process, at least the camera process, it could be better this year for fans in the stadium because you're going to have 360-degree cameras, also a pylon camera. You're going to be able to see those on the big screen as the officials are starting to try to figure out what they're going to do with the decision. Fans in the stadium are going to have a chance to kind of figure out which direction this thing is going to go. I'm up on the 300 level, and Nissan Stadium has 3 new bars this year, including 2 on this level. You're also going to find a lot of new menu items here and on the 200 level. I want to remind you about the Titans clear bag policy. This bag size remains the same, but if you're carrying a clutch or a purse, that size is now 4.5 by 6.5. That's it. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday at new and improved Nissan Stadium.
Jim Wyatt has always got all the scoop.
I'll tell you what, Jim Wyatt is everywhere all the time.
All the time, without a doubt. We hope to see you at Nissan Stadium this weekend. Remember, for tickets, TitansOnline.com/tickets. When Titans All Access continues, it's good news and
good night.
Stay with us.
on the new edition of Titans All Access. The team will be back from a Thursday night matchup in Jacksonville and ready to catch its breath. We sat down with two-time Pro Bowl punter Brett Kern to get his secret to becoming a star after 30. Dave McGinnis goes beneath the surface to explain why Titans play action can be deadly for opponents. We get an inside look at the new look for the Titans cheerleaders. And General Manager John Robinson starts to give us a peek ahead to September's final weekend. All of this and more on the next Titans All Access.
Some good news to end this edition of Titans All Access. We take you to Robert Churchwell Museum Magnet Elementary, where the youngsters there got a visit from Kevin Byard. And better than that, they got shoes, socks, and other essentials from Kevin Byard, who is obviously an All-Pro on the field, and as we see, he is obviously an off the field as well. Good work, number 31. That's why he's the mayor of Murfreesboro.
You know, Mike, the only thing better than getting free shoes is getting free brunch.
Oh.
And we gave that to people, to season ticket members actually, at Loveless Cafe. Mike Keith was there, also Dave McGinnis, and we talked some football and ate a lot of biscuits.
Nearly 300 Titans season ticket members there. Thank you to all of them for their great support of the Tennessee Titans. And remember, your Titans try to go to 2-0 this Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Amy Wells, Dave McGinnis, Jonathan Hutton, Rhett Bryan, and I on the air on Titans Radio at 11 a.m. Central. We hope you'll tune in on your local Titans radio station. For Amy Wells, I'm Mike Keith. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.